What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I'll break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about the structure developing on SPY and some other important levels which are going to be very important for other tickers out there. But before I do anything like this, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon and it's in just 8 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so looking at SPY right now, we do see this like rising wedge that has been developing on it so far, but there's no confirmed breakout in either direction. Now, let me warn you all that sometimes, even though the structure is leaning in the direction of the market potentially getting a sell-off, there's no guarantee of that happening until we get a confirmed break to the downside, until we break this support right over here. And so far, it has not done that. So I'm not necessarily going to assume something that has not happened just yet that happened. Now, to add on to this, if we want to break out right above this, there are sometimes instances where we just continue pumping and stocks end up just invalidating rising wedges. In order for that to happen, we have to see this thing break above the resistance, break above this, and get above this next level of resistance around this 451 area. If that happened, then we could still try to invalidate this. So I just want to warn you guys about the structure that is developing. It is increasing the odds of the market getting some kind of like sell-off or a slowdown near the end of the day, but it's not confirmed just yet until we get this break. And so far, it has not happened. So, like I said before, do not assume it's going to happen. Do not just pretend it's happening. You have to watch for it and see if we get any breaks. So, watch this very carefully. You can see this on SPY and also this resistance right about here. You can look at the 30 minutes time frame or even the 15 minutes. I also want to add that looking at SPY currently on the 30 minutes time frame, the MACD is still more bullish. We don't really have a confirmed break to the downside just yet as the market's trying to hold 450. I think it's going to break a little bit below that. It looks like the candle's kind of flipping a little bit, but there's nothing that's confirmed just yet as long as the MACD is like this. Now, if this thing starts turning a little bit in this direction, right, just like because of the fact that we have that rising wedge, you want to watch the 30-minute time frame and you want to look at the MACD very specifically, because if this starts to get very tight and the histograms get smaller, this could be signaling in the direction of the market getting ready to see a reversal. And that is still very, very possible as this market is continuing to hold. Now, as we're holding at these high levels, let me just mention that the rising wedge right here is still valid. It hasn't been invalidated just yet. And we're going to be watching these resistance levels that I'm about to list. So on SPY, I mean, right now, the resistance that stopped us was 450.5. If it broke that, 451 becomes a possibility. Those are resistance levels. For support right now, 450 is trying to hold the market up. If that breaks, you're going to be watching 449.5 as the next major critical support. A break below that would send this thing down to 449 flat. And if that broke, 448.5 becomes a real possibility to 448.25, the entire zone right about there. And if it ended up breaking below 448, this thing is going to come tanking down to 447.5. And 447.5 is going to be a very important support, because if that breaks, the market's going to tank a lot harder. That's going to be the critical support to watch for if it does end up coming that low, because then we have this unfilled gap down here and other signals suggesting the market could weaken. But for now, you're going to be watching our resistance for now. You can see SPY is once again getting a little bit below 450, but it hasn't really made a massive move just yet. It is starting to slow down just a little bit. And I'm going to be watching to see which direction it breaks in, right? We have this rising wedge still. Do we break in one direction? Do we fail to do so? We will just have to wait and see. Now, to add on to this, let me just mention that I want to add something else that's important. That is looking at Tesla. Tesla announced that their CFO would be stepping down, and that was some negative news for them. As a result, Tesla sold off pretty hard, hitting 242.76. Now, after Tesla hit this support, this is very close to our 242.71 support. This is actually very close. It's now trying to rebound a bit as the market is holding up, and it's trying to make its way close to about 249.8. That's like where it's trying to get to, but it's really struggling to get that high because resistance is getting tougher around 250. So it is trying to push up and wants to get close to about 250. It came a little bit short for now. And if the market gets that rejection that I'm talking about, right, as we have this rising wedge, if we break down and the market starts, tanking, a big rug pull could still come, and that could slow the whole market down, including Tesla. And if that were to happen, you're going to be watching our supports at, first off, we have 247.5 as one of them. If that breaks, you have 245.95, 244.54, and then 242.71 as supports, are very close to that range all the way down there. So watch these levels carefully on Tesla. It is looking like it's starting to reject a little bit as of right now, and we will see what happens moving forward. To add on to Apple, Apple has been very much just sideways. Got a big drop in the morning. It's been just stuck around 178 as our support, going back and forth and back and forth. If you want to be bullish on this thing, you want to see it try to get above 180. It's really struggling to do so. And it's not really doing anything too crazy, though. It's just kind of stuck in this area. For the triple Q, you're gonna be watching the triple Q. 375 is going to be our resistance between there and about 374 point, was that 374.15 or something like that. If anything, those are going to be two resistance levels to watch for. We actually failed to break above 375. So now that that happened, we're kind of stuck in this range between 372, almost about 374, going back and forth throughout the day. And we're at resistance right now. So we're going to be watching to see if the market does start to slow down. Does the triple Q come down? If so, you're going to be watching 373.8 and 373.5 as two supports. You can see it was very choppy around that range. If it broke below that, especially the 20 EMA, and that's the potential to come all the way down to 373. If that fails us, 372 becomes a real possibility. It is looking like the market's rejecting a little bit. It's very, very like choppy at the same time, but it is looking a little bit weaker. If you look at SPY right now, it is still kind of choppy right now. It's barely holding 450. We're going to see if this tries to hold. And then don't forget about this, wedge. That's going to be very, very important to watch for. All right. Anyways, going back, let me just mention that looking at the VIX has been coming down just a little bit as the market's been holding up. This is what the VIX is looking like on a nice pump before this thing started dropping since the day started. And now it's about to get this bearish crossover right here on the PPO. Getting this bearish crossover, there is a chance that the VIX could, try to sell off a little bit more, but it's very close to the 50 EMA support. So we will see if it tries to bounce off that or not. It's very close to support right now as the market's at resistance. Will the VIX bounce as the market ends up dropping, or will the VIX continue to sell off? We're going to find out just watching this right here. Now, you could argue there's like a falling wedge-like structure on the VIX, which means it could reverse, but not a guarantee until we see, a confirmation of a break or something like that. All right, so for now, it's trying to hold the 50 EMA on the 30 minutes time frame. We'll see if that holds. The dollar is just at 102, not really doing anything too significant. Basically just stuck going back and forth. Coinbase came down to our target, came very close to that 84 target I was talking about. It actually broke below it to about 82 just temporarily, and now it's at 85.8. So that's pretty interesting to witness. Amazon held up a little bit better than expected. I was thinking it would come down to about 139. It actually touched that area, then bounced off that. So it's still holding up a little bit nice. But if anything, I would still be careful with this market as the market rejects. You're going to be watching 140.9 on Amazon. If that breaks, 139.75 is a possibility. And then for Meta, we're just going to be watching these levels. I mean, if it comes down, there's 314, 313.5, 312.5, and then 310, all as possibilities. But for now, guys, just watch the market very carefully. Pay attention to both support and resistance levels. You can see SPY is now below 450, but it tends to be very tricky and choppy around these areas, so be prepared for that. The 30-minute MACD is still favoring the bulls a bit more, but there is a signal that the market could be getting ready to reverse right here. It just depends on how it holds and how it reacts to support and resistance. To add on to this is what our rising wedge is still looking like. We will see if we get a break to the downside or not. So the best thing to do is just watch these levels and to be as patient as possible. Okay, so I hope my analysis was helpful for you looking at the market right now. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and do what you have to do. I want to get this out as fast as possible. Thank you. Market to the moon, and peace out.